guys, Emily, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is once again approaching that time, and Caleb is about to get his third myth story, and I could not be more excited. I feel like with Caleb being the last of the third myths, we kind of already have knowledge and patterns of what we've seen in the prior third myths, that there are some things like we kind of know we're gonna get, like the long hair. So anyways, today I'm gonna tell you my last minute theories and predictions on what I think potentially is going to happen in Caleb's myth. Now this kind of is going towards the lore, but also like the theme and aesthetic, what like they might look like, and the ending. I think that's like the big one. Starting off, I definitely think that Caleb's myth is going to have a jungle theme. I feel like we've had very distinct themes for each of the characters' third myths. For example, Raphael obviously has his merman theme, and that's kind of just like always. That's pretty typical of Raphael. Xavier, we had a more medieval sort of theme, but it was like in terms of like aesthetic wise, right? That's what I'm more talking about, the aesthetic of it. Zane was very ancient Mesopotamia kind of vibes. And then Silas was more Victorian-esque. So I definitely think Caleb's theme, whatever it is, it won't be like the other love interest. Like I think it's going to be very distinct on its own, which we already saw last year, given his was the only very distinctly sci-fi story. And I do love that. I loved that he did stay distinctly sci-fi. I am hoping, I think it'll still be sci-fi-esque, but I think it's probably going to lean more fantasy this time around. But I'm very certain on the jungle theme. Now, the main thing pushing this is obviously we had Verdant Wetlands, right? And last year, a lot of the 4-star Secret Times that came out, like all of the pictures had somewhat aligned with what and hinted at what their third myth was going to be. And we didn't get that for Caleb last year, but we are getting that for Caleb this year, which makes me think that they are potentially doing that again. Like potentially these other cards could also hint at like the fourth myth as well. But I do think Caleb's is a hint towards his third myth. It's obviously very green, which for one, his Stellachrome will be green. Like that's a fact at this point. So that's not like it will be green, just to let you know. If you didn't know, that's not a theory. That is just a fact. It will be green. So we already got that. The Stellachrome doesn't usually tie into the aesthetic, but I think this time it will. But the card itself is very like green looking. It kind of looks jungle-esque. So I got that kind of going on. And then the other part of it that I think it's gonna be like jungle themed is because if you look closely at Caleb's stuff, leopards have kind of been coming up, and I didn't really notice it before, and I don't really know how leopards connect yet. Like, there's not really a distinct reason why leopards and Caleb connect, and I think this myth is going to help, like, discover that, and I feel like, because if you, like, I think one of the name, like, the titles, right? The little title, like, back, whatever they're called, the base. There has been some text messages that have referenced leopards. Hello, Emily editing from the future. I forgot to mention that when you get your period in the game, Caleb will mention that like he has like a leopard print blanket for you. So like I said, lots of leopard stuff, but don't know how it connects yet. So I think we're gonna find out why in this myth. So given that there has been like slight nudges and hints towards this, but like we haven't seen that connect like in his main story or his cards or anything like that. I think that this story is going to tie the leopards into that. So I think that's why I'm leaning towards it being jungle themed. Along with that, Caleb will be getting long hair. Another fact of the matter is Caleb is getting long hair. And I have always thought he was gonna have revealing clothes, probably because one of my other theories is gonna be like Adam and Eve like, but I don't think it's like, part of me was like, what if they just like cover him in leaves or something like that? But I was like, what if they barely cover him in leaves? I don't think they're gonna do that. I think that would be, as much as the Caleb girlies would kind of love that, I think also Caleb girlies would hate that at the same time. Like if it was just like not much was done. Like I think it's gonna look kind of similar, like it's gonna be revealing and stuff like that. And I think it's gonna look kind of similar to, I think Zane kind of God of Annihilation-esque. Like it's gonna be revealing like in that way, I think more so. I also think his hair is going to be like curly and wavy and like wild. Like mine is right now, right? Me and Caleb could match. Who knows? Kind of like Xavier's, where Xavier's is kind of, well, not Xavier's hair. His kind of longer hair is very like disheveled. I don't think it'll be kind of disheveled, but more like wild like I don't think disheveled in the same ways that Xavier's hair was. But that's kind of what I think Caleb is going to look like. is my prediction. I'm just hoping MC gets a really nice outfit and hairstyle. I feel like I don't usually like the myth hairstyles, if I'm being honest. I will say I like to think the third myth hairstyles way better than the second myth hairstyles. I'll give you that. But I think it peaked at Raphael's myth hair and it just hasn't since. So I'm just really hoping the hair is really nice and that we get... I think the outfit could be really nice too. I do like the other outfits. I do feel like Xavier's and Zayn's MC's outfit looks really similar. So I don't think it'll look like those though. I think it's gonna be its own thing given like I think the theme is its own thing, so... Now on to the story. I definitely think this is going to be like Caleb's origin story, which I'm really excited about. Like, I think I'm more excited about Caleb's myth than I am some of the others because I feel like because Caleb and the MC come from the same source, getting backstory on Caleb is also going to give us mega backstory on MC, which obviously that is the case for all of the myths. That's not me saying it's not, but I feel like we might get hints more to her origin too, which I think would be really cool to learn more about that. And I feel like it's going to be Adam and Eve theme. Again, we've gotten hints to this massively. For one, we have the apple hinting that Caleb's the forbidden fruit, but also a lot of people who, not that it was technically is an apple, like it was never said in the Bible like what the fruit was, but it's like the symbol of it for years has been an apple. You look up Adam and Eve anything and you'll see them eating an apple. We also have these two people who are like born from the cosmos and have simply kind of come out of nothing. Now with MC, we kind of know like she kind of, you know, is the more, I guess, powerful one. I would like argue, like she's the one that ever really wants more than they would like want Caleb, for example. We also got hints to this in the Throne of Arrows event in like the one where you're like walking around, the Royal Walk, that one. And during that, Caleb makes a mention about how he came from her rib, which is definitely pushing the little Adam and Eve narrative I have going, that Caleb is Eve and MC is Adam. Now, I think it's gonna be a little bit of a twist on the story because my theory is that we're gonna discover whether that's at the beginning of the story or like kind of how you know how there's kind of a plot twist like midway through the myths or like there's a big changing point. I think it's either going to be revealed at the beginning and something we know from the get-go, or we're going to discover it like halfway through. I think it could be either or. And if it's at the very beginning, this will be like the first kindled is my idea. But I think we're going to discover that MC is the one who originally created Caleb. I feel like that just makes sense. I just think that's going to be the twist. I don't have as much logic behind this one being, aside from, you know, the fact that they come from the same source and all of that. As to reasons why, I don't know yet. I could theorize maybe because she's lonely. That's my only theory right now, backing that up that I think it could be. But I think that would just be really cool like, that she's the one that created him in the first place. I think that would be really cool, would make sense. He's the one that's gonna like protect her or something like that. I think that's just an interesting idea and I'm here for it. So that's my theory. There was also a snake on his little verdant wetlands thing, and snakes are in his lore. I don't feel like Caleb is the snake, right? I feel like, you know, we're kind of more so going down the road with Silas anyways. But I do remember in Homecoming Wings, we meet Viper, which is like the name of a snake, and he's kind of trying to get MC to doubt Caleb. Kind of similar if you compare it to how the snake in Adam and Eve was trying to tempt Eve to like eat the forbidden fruit, right? And finally, the ending. Now, in every single one of the endings, MC has died one way or another. In the Lemurian sea god myth and God of Annihilation, spoilers if you haven't played those, or any of the third myths, I will be spoiling them a little bit. But MC dies on her own. She sacrifices herself for Raphael and Zayn. And in King of Dark Knight and the Archfiend Sovereign, MC and the love interests Xavier and Silas die together. Now, in Caleb's last myth in Decoherence, or X02, Caleb and MC did die together, and I feel like we're not gonna see that again. It's not gonna repeat. I have it on good authority. I mean, at this point, it kind of feels predictable, not only for following the pattern, because we had Raphael first, then we had Xavier, then we had Zayn, then we had Silas, you know, and even that, if we even had Caleb into that, right? We had Caleb who died with MC. We had Raphael who watched MC die. We had Xavier who died with MC. We had Zayn, who watched MC die. We had Silas, who died with MC. The next in the pattern is Caleb's gonna see MC die. MC could like sacrifice himself. She's gonna sacrifice herself for him for some reason. And Caleb will crash out. I feel like that's the most predictable ending at this point. So obviously, I'm still gonna offer my other theories because I do think there's a potential it could end differently. But death is the result. There's gonna be not a dry eye who reads this myth story. Now, they could do like the reverse maybe of X02, where Caleb's already like sacrificing himself for MC, but MC's like, I don't want to live without you, and so the two of them die together. Maybe we see a reverse of that potentially, because, you know, I feel like that would make sense for Caleb. Like, I don't see him wanting really to live without MC. If MC's like sacrificing herself, I could see him like also sacrificing himself, that they like die together. So like that is another potential outcome. I do think it's a little more likely we are going to get the MC is going to die and Caleb's going to crash out. As long as they don't, when every time I open the event, they don't like try to make me cry, because I have too much of that with God of Annihilation. That was way too much. Like, how dare they make me cry every time I'm trying to open up the event? The don't leave me flashbacks. Oh, but they could and they would. But what do I know? Maybe they will both survive. I think that's pretty unlikely. I think the only myth I've read that they both survived at the time and the ending was Abyss Walker. But I think this one is gonna be set in the past, like I said, and take place first in Caleb's timeline, potentially. I mean, like, you know, the way the timelines work, they're all, you know, zigzaggy, right? Taking place at the same time. So it's not like chronological, but I do think it's gonna be like Caleb's origin in that regard. So I do think they aren't making out of this alive. Anyways, that is my short, rambly thoughts on Caleb's third myth and my last minute theories before his trailer drops soon. Let me know what you think is going to happen. I've heard there's some things that are being spread, so this was made like not knowing any of those things, so obviously I could be wrong if you've seen those things, so please do not say or spread any of that in the comments. I want to be surprised. Let me know if you have any theories though on aesthetic or what you think might happen. I would love to hear from you. I greatly look forward to these myth stories as much as they pain me, because they're usually part of my favorite parts of the game. So I love lore and I've been looking forward to this since I finished X02. So I am excited, and I'm so excited to see what is going to happen, like what they look like. I will not be watching the trailer. So I don't like watching the trailers because ever since I watched Raphael's trailer for Lemurian Sea God, I did not like that they spoiled the death. I want to not know. So I'm gonna try to avoid that. So I will be logging out of Instagram like I have for every other myth, but I think I still got spoiled for those, so I think I just have to avoid social media period until I get a chance to play Caleb's myth. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your theories down below. I would love to hear from you. If you like this video and you want to see more Love and Deep Space content from me, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more of this lovely face, and I will talk to you all soon in a new video. Bye!